Extraction shooters have been around for quite some time. Some will argue it started all the way back with The Division, and its PvP zone which had players loading into a PvPvE area, looting high-tier items, and then attempting to make their way to designated areas to exfil with their items securely. This wasn't the premise of the whole game. At its heart, The Division was a PvE looter-shooter, but this side mode would be the earliest version of the modern-day extraction shooter. In 2012, a small group of Russian developers would begin cooking something in a laboratory somewhere that would eventually lead to what we see today. This small developer team was known as Battlestate Games, and what they were working on was Escape from Tarkov. 4 years would pass, but on August 4th, 2016, almost 10 years ago, the first closed alpha of Escape from Tarkov would go live, and from that moment, the first playable, fully dedicated extraction shooter would be born. Tarkov has had an interesting life cycle so far, only recently launching a full quote-unquote finished product with their 1.0 launch. But Tarkov has always had a dedicated, die-hard audience. In the grand scheme of AAA titles, Tarkov's success was real. It was never mainstream, but it always had an active, dedicated player base. A loyal audience who would stick with them through the, at times, very, very thick and the very, very thin. From here, we would see extraction shooters existing, but never really breaking the barrier into the forefront of the online gaming world. It existed in the shadows, never in the spotlight. Others came and went. Hunt Showdown, Arena Breakout Infinite, Delta Force, all great games in their own right, but never breaking into the big time until October 30th, 2025, when something strange happened. For the first time, an extraction shooter would launch that would take the entire world by storm. The number of players comparing only to that of the biggest titles in the world. Something we had never seen before. All of social media, the biggest streamers in the world, the biggest YouTubers in the world, all playing the exact same thing. Everyone on the same page. And that game was obviously Arc Raiders. But why was Arc Raiders able to achieve something none of its predecessors had? Well, it was likely for a few reasons. A unique, immersive world, incredible gameplay, the marketing, all contributing factors. But I would say, and so would others, there were two big factors that helped Arc Raiders' success. One was that at launch, the day it went live, Arc Raiders would launch not only on PC, but Xbox and PlayStation also, something other extraction shooters had never quite managed. Due to the complexity of the genre, complicated looting systems, and a painful amount of key bindings for actions you would never imagine would need a key binding, bringing this genre onto a controller seemed like an insurmountable task. However, the second reason Arc Raiders hit mainstream success fixed this very problem. Arc Raiders, compared to other extraction shooters, is far less complicated. Its actions more simple, its gameplay less daunting. It is extraction shooting at its most fundamental, meaning it's the first extraction shooter to be truly new player friendly. Previously, learning the genre would be a slog. To learn Tarkov, you had to want to learn Tarkov. It would take hours upon hours of dedicated learning. Painful hours. At the end of that would be a great experience. But you had to earn that through days, weeks, months of dedicated learning. With Arc Raiders, you can learn the core mechanics and everything you need to have a full experience in a matter of hours. For the first time, anyone was able to get involved in the genre, and boy, did they. Arc Raiders has maintained its numbers pretty well, seeing impressive numbers 4 months after launch. And with that, a very loyal audience has formed, who have dedicated the last 4 months of their lives almost entirely to Arc. The thing with Arc's success is this isn't like someone dropping a new successful BR, where it's competing against Fortnite, Warzone, or Apex. It's launching into the mainstream with no competitors of its level in the genre. It holds almost a monopoly on the extraction shooter genre right now. But there is a rumbling. A disturbance in the peace. One of the titans of the industry, be it loved or hated, responsible for, in my opinion, the greatest gaming franchise of all time, Halo, is releasing the first extraction shooter since Arc Raiders' massive success. Marathon. Arc Raiders has seen something extraction shooters have never seen before. A massive surgence in friendly players, entire lobbies working together to complete a common goal, trading items where they could down each other, becoming friends where they could have easily chosen to be enemies. Marathon seems set up to be the opposite of that. It offers a heavily PvP world. If there's one thing Bungie has always done well, it's PvP. Satisfying kills, weapons that feel like they punch like Prime Mike Tyson. It's fun, it's engaging, it's very well done. And Marathon has that. It will likely, and I could be wrong because it does include proximity chat, but it will likely not go the same friendly route as Arc Raiders. And you know what? That's fine. That's what the genre has always been. It is, despite what some PvE players would have you believe, acceptable. It's likely going to be a very different experience to Arc Raiders, which is great, right? This means two extraction shooters, offering totally different experiences, can live side by side. The players have options. You can load up one day and decide to have a third-person friendly experience, meeting strangers and having fun adventures. You could then close that, load up Marathon and have some engaging first-person PvP action, working with your friends to go head-to-head with other players and battle over high-tier loot, right? Wrong. Marathon, within minutes of the server slam going live, was under massive scrutiny. Criticism from every angle, borderline abuse to the dev team, and for what, you might ask? Well, one criticism was the art style. Vibrant colors, boxy looking weapons, unique uses of font and text. It was a bold choice, one that, personally, I like. I don't like all games to look the same, and I'm happy to have something so vibrant. I would say, however, this is the most valid criticism the game has received. If you don't like the way a game looks, given you are staring at it on a screen for hours at a time, then that is fair enough. So, what is Marathon's other major criticism? As far as I can tell, it has been, this game is shit. This game is ass. This game is trash. No rhyme or reason, no mention of gameplay depth, level design, progression, gunplay, utility, PvP or PvE, nothing. A faceless mass stating that the game is trash with minimal to no experience actually playing it. Extraction shooters usually have steep learning curves. It's one of the biggest skill gaps in these games. Learning prime spots for loot, advantageous PvP locations, weapon builds, character abilities, all of this deepen the experience for the player with time put in. Something I think a lot of people are missing here. But Marathon, for a large vocal mass, will never have that chance, because it is falling victim to the gaming industry's biggest problem: the sheeple. People won't like to hear it, but it's true. It is one thing to dislike a game for genuine reasons. You've tried it, it wasn't for you. That's fine. But with social media being the forefront of so many people's lives, crowds form. Loud crowds, spurting hate in every direction. And it is a problem. It's been a problem in more walks of life than just gaming, but it is very, very real. I don't have the experience in Marathon to say it's going to be great. I don't know. It isn't out yet. We haven't played the full game, but what I do know is, what I have seen is a well fleshed out, well crafted, deep, unique extraction shooter experience that I am looking forward to playing on its full release. Something I look forward to playing alongside Arc Raiders. And that's the thing. Why does it have to be one or the other? Why does it have to be I'll be playing Arc Raiders or I'll be playing Marathon? As a player, as a consumer, you have the opportunity to play two fantastic games side by side, but we would rather pick a side and be a die-hard loyalist to a title. For what? For who exactly? What are the benefits to picking a side and dying on that hill? There are truthfully zero. It does not make sense. We would rather bash heads, argue until we're blue in the face, drag people down, friends, content creators, for choosing to play something you might not like. It does not make sense. You don't have to like it, you don't have to enjoy it, but throwing hate and negativity around because your favorite game has a competitor is quite frankly backwards. If you're a die-hard Arc Raiders player who will never give another game a chance, you should be praying for Marathon success. In this industry, competition breeds quality. I'll give you two examples. For a long time, Call of Duty didn't have real competition. It dominated console FPS charts, and nothing came close. Where's Call of Duty now? The players hate it. The quality fell off a cliff, and the game is arguably in shambles. The interest in it has never been lower. Why? Because they were free to release a subpar product annually and it would sell, due to a lack of competition. Now the second example. Overwatch. Once adored by hundreds of thousands, if not millions, it again had no real competition. The quality dropped, the player base went with it, until Marvel Rivals dropped. A game that directly rivaled it. Excuse the pun. It had a huge surge in players. Overwatch players were leaving in droves to play Marvel Rivals. And what happened as a result? Blizzard had no choice but to take action. Through a series of high-quality updates, listening to community feedback, and taking action, Overwatch is now in the best state it's ever been. The players are happy again, and they look forward to playing the highest quality version of the product they love that they have ever had. Why? Because of competition. Some say, and they'd be correct to say it, the best thing that ever happened to Overwatch was Marvel Rivals. And so I reiterate, if you truly love Arc Raiders, you should be praying for the success of Marathon. I think gamers forget, we're not all against each other. It's not you versus me, unless you shoot me in the back topside. We're all a group of like-minded people sharing a hobby, and the devs that produce the games are in that with us. The insistent hate for everything that isn't someone's favorite game achieves nothing but breeding animosity and negativity. Picking sides does nothing but denies yourself games to play in your free time. It does not make sense. I will be playing Arc Raiders. I will be playing Marathon, and I will enjoy them both. Just something to think about. I'll see you guys topside. I'll also see you in Tau Ceti. Peace.